But I think one of the reasons we tabled it was just because there's so many different variables that you really can't reach
an informed
decision in, you know, and hopefully by the time of our next meeting when we have the school board mic here, we can get some real answers.
3 sides to every story, Jim. And you know what? We're getting one side. It's your side. I understand it. I have my side. But I think we have more informed decisions. Monies were brought over to Mendham from Long Valley, from what I understand, and from Chester, from what I understand. There's a lot more to this than just my tax is too high, I don't want Washington Township to pay for it. That's wrong. Let's get all the informed decisions before we make it.
Is there any other new business? There's no other new business. I will open to the public. Please limit your comments or questions to 5 minutes or less. Based on previous outbursts, I would like to warn everybody that I will be sticking to 5 minutes. Ms. Cremens?
Kathy Cremens, I'm going to speak tonight as a taxpayer. Okay, Charlie, you have to deal with that. As a taxpayer and a 22-year resident of Chester Township and now Mendham Township. And actually I missed you guys. It's been like 2 months, so
where you been?
Good meeting. I've been taking friends. But two things. One, I appreciate Mr. Johnson's comment about considering consolidation, super consolidation, K through 12 articulation, curriculum, and instruction. Obviously, that's why I do what I do, and that's why we're the district that we are. I also want to address, as a taxpayer, I need more information on CBS. If the group formed in the summer, I have a little bit of a healthy skepticism as to why things are getting rolled out right now. And I think skepticism, is, as long as it's healthy, is a good thing. But for me, it would be a matter of and I go to what Joe said before, an informed decision. We all need to make an informed decision. But at this point, the most information I have and the best questions in terms of being thought-provoking was from a letter to the editor, from a former student from Mendham High School. And she asked brilliant questions. She asked those questions that keep coming up right now. And I think that two good models, if we are being considerate, as we all are, in terms of what we pay in taxes, and making sure that we're efficient, and trying to make sure that, and again, kudos to the budget that you delivered last year, an excellent budget, and from the reaction to, we don't have the figures, but from the reaction to the board, another good one is that we need information on that. The New Jersey Taxpayer Association, which started as a local group in Randolph and now is statewide, has an exceptional website. Whether you agree with them or disagree with them, you're informed. When you go there, they have a mission, they tell you what their goals are, and they tell you what their accomplishments are. That's what I want to know. Also, if we truly are about continuing to push and just get better and better, and make sure we're not just as good as everybody else, but we're excellent and we're exceptional, then I think we also need to take a look at the Chatham Educational Foundation. Because I think that we're talking about both of those things. We're talking about educational costs, and we're talking about the quality of education and maintaining that over the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years when we may be a K through 12 super consolidated district. But I need more information. So whoever can give that to me, 9 Rock Sidicus Road, drop it by, toss it, give it to the dog, toss it on the deck, it doesn't matter. But we need that. That's incredibly important.
Cremens, we'd be happy to respond to any.
It's time for open to the public. Please let her know.
So and again, just going back to the letter to the editor, one of the final questions talks about community. I was in Chatham getting riffed just at the point when Chatham Borough and Chatham Township were saying, we can't do this. We can't get along. We're never going to be able to merge. I think they've done that pretty exceptionally. And then when I came here and I started coaching, everybody told me, oh, you're never going to get those Mendham and Chester kids to play together. I think I did a pretty fine job of it. And so I think we just need to keep all of those things in mind. Thank you. Happy to be back.
And we're happy to with you. Any other questions or comments? Yes, in the back.
I was pleased to hear the board.
Can you state your name and town,
Sure,
please?
Bob Marino, Mendon Borough. I was pleased to hear that the board, the comment was, look, we need to make an informed decision. As I understand what Mr. Button was asking for, it wasn't for a vote on the subject matter tonight. It was merely asking for counsel to gather all the information that he needed to so that this board could act at its next meeting. That to me seems like a reasonable request, rather than coming in on March 21st and saying, we'd like you to move on this and getting these types of questions. It now seems to me that the board has noticed that this issue is going to come up again on the 21st, and there really shouldn't be any impediment to acting at that time. Because, again, there's now this time lag where the board can submit any questions to council through whatever the proper channels are, put them in a position, put you guys in a position where you can act. Because if you fail to act on the 21st, I think all the information needs to be submitted by April 8th. So failing to act at the next meeting, in effect, would take this option off the table. So I would think that the communities, which I'll disagree with Mr. Johnson, I do think that the school system is the business of the respective communities and of the governing bodies. But that way the community's request will be acted upon, and I would hope you'd give it the courtesy of an up or down vote at that time. I was very struck by the comment that your code of ethics requires that before you take any action, you get input from all your constituents. Isn't that exactly what this referendum is? It's puts you in a position to get the input from every one of the surrounding communities. I think that's appropriate. I think that's fair. And apparently it's what your code of ethics demands of you, from what you've said here today. If this referendum goes up, all 5 communities will have the opportunity to vote, and there'll be an up or down vote. There was a lot of discussion of people speculating, well, we don't think community X will vote this way or vote that way. Let it happen. Let the people be heard and move forward. It would be a shame, considering all the traction that this has gotten, all the discussion that's taking place in these communities, if it wasn't acted upon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think what we said earlier is that our policy requires us to consult all of our constituents in planning, and that is what we're doing by waiting for CBS to go to Chester Township and to Washington Township, because it would be a waste of district resources to instruct our board attorney to start writing one referendum if Chester Township and Washington Township came back and said, no, we want to look at it this way. So we just don't want to waste our resources. We want to do this thoughtfully. In addition, we have Mike Halber, who is also an attorney for school boards. We pay school boards about $22,000 or $23,000 a year for membership, and part of that provides us with advice from actually the person, Mike Halber, who our attorney would be consulting as well. So if we can get that consultation as part of our membership dues, which we've already paid, then it saves the district money by not having to pay our outside counsel to do that research.
Assuming that all the municipalities are contacted and come back to you, will you be in a position to act in the March 21st meeting? Particularly
First,
knowing
our
that
meeting was changed. Part of our board action tonight was to change our meeting to March 22nd from the 21st.
Thank you.
So it's Tuesday the 22nd, and that's due to budget requirements. But I can't say that now because I don't know what the board is going to feel. But certainly, please come to our March 22nd meeting and hear the discussion then, and ask questions of Mr. Calvert.
Sure, the question is, will you be in a position to act, not what the vote will be?
I don't know. I don't know all of the legal requirements, so that's part of the information gathering that we have to do.
If that information gathering is going to take place on the last meeting before the deadline for this, do you feel that it's likely that you'll be able to act on the 22nd if you're just gathering information at that time?
Again, I can't speak for the entire board, but I would turn that back onto you and ask why CBS waited so long to approach the board. So at this time, I'd like to go and see if there are any other questions from the public.
You asked me a question, so under Robert's rules, I think I get the answer to that, right?
Robert's rules doesn't apply to the members of the public, but I will give you another opportunity. I just want to make sure that everybody in the public has a chance to be heard first.
I'd be more than happy to answer that question if you'd like.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Mike?
Hi, Mike Scaletti, Mendham. I think there's an interesting contrast between the discussion in the first public session about busing and the discussion now about taxes. What is the purpose of starting a no-win fight about taxes a month or two, a month before the budget is released and 2 months before the budget election during tax season? It's not to discuss what fairness is, because there's lots of different fairness proposals you could have. If you took a multi-million-dollar house in Mendham and looked at its taxes, those taxes would actually be higher for the same value house in Washington Township. We could have lots of definitions of fairness. Maybe families that have 6 children might have to pay more for their services because they use more in the schools. We could debate all sorts of definitions of fairness, but what is the purpose of riling everybody up about taxes? It's because there's a budget vote coming up. And I think it's ironic that this meeting started with a fight over busing, because last year, in response to the governor's call to vote down budgets, people of these communities voted down this budget, cut their own busing while they still pay for the governor's children to be bused to private schools. And I think a lot of times we're being manipulated so that we can get angry about our taxes, and we're all angry about our taxes. Nobody likes to pay them. And so we can say, here's an ox to gore, here's a button to press. You're going to have a vote, a question about taxes, right next to the question about the school budget. With all the things that go on, take the time, look at a lot of proposals, talk to all the communities, and if you really do want to advocate better schools, you could start with not only fair funding, but better education, lots of initiatives about shared services. There are a variety of ways to go about this. Let's not just stir up a pot of angry bees right before the budget vote, because the budget committee and the school has put a very hard amount of work into getting a good budget, a budget that is reasonable and can still maintain this education. Let's not jeopardize it by playing politics.